I sort of think of Bitcoin conference like a little more dorky, where there was a lot of dudes with pretty hot chicks.
Yeah, there's a real, and you know what?
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand why.
Yes, obviously. And I think, if you went to ask someone who went to the Bitcoin conference 8 years ago, it was all like libertarians and it was grimier, like more off the grid people. Now it's just finance people. It's all finance bros.
Yes.
And they're all like, how do we, we have all these businesses.
I did see some weird nerd looking guys with smoke shows though.
Yeah, that's why. So the weird nerd dudes, like the weirdos, those are the OGs.
The guys that were there in the first place. It's he has a smoke show because he's owned Bitcoin since fucking 2005.
Yeah, exactly. Like he bought it when it was $1.
This guy owns 45% of it.
Yeah, exactly. So those guys had a nice little blow up.
Became obsessed with the inevitable. 40 hours per week. 40 hours I seek. 40 hours per week. 40 hours I seek. That's just a start. Difficulty adjustment turned my world upside down. The breeze on and sail a drop. I dropped so far and I make the sound. Before I could notice, my path has been set. I was orange pilled so hard. I was a national security threat. 40 hours per week. 40 hours I seek. 40 hours per week. 40 hours I seek. And that's just a start. I'm in the podcast studio 2 days a week. I haven't missed a meetup. Come on. 21 weeks. But I choose the conference over my own wedding. I'm so far down the rabbit hole, I can't see it ending. 40 hours per week. 40 hours I seek. 40 hours per week. 40 hours I seek. That's just a start. Thank you.
Welcome back, folks, to the Bugle Weekly. I know it's been a little bit. We were busy. We were pod coughing. We were behind enemy lines at the Pleb Slop Super Bowl last week. And, we kind of thought we might get an episode. I think Rod was a little bit more optimistic on it than I was. But yeah, it was a lot. There was a lot going on. We were in Las Vegas. We were getting bombarded with EMFs. We were walking through the halls of the Venetian, looking at the boomers gambling away their Social Security checks. It's just like, I mean, you can see the souls getting sucked out of their bodies into those weird machines, just clicking the button over and over again. I wish we had an aura camera to capture their aura or lack thereof, but we had a good time. There's a lot to unpack. I know some of you were there. We had a good time hanging out with you. Had a good time at the first ever Fish podcast meetup last Thursday. But some of you weren't, and we'll catch you up to speed on what happened. Rod, what were the highlights for you of the PodConf Super Bowl?
For me, it was just it was the vibes, and there was just No plebs. There were no plebs there this year. The plebs were replaced by fish fans. I mean, we got there, and like the 3 days before the conference, they just ended a 3-day fish run. And then as soon as the conference ended, there was another 3-day fish run. Bitcoiners and jammed in aficionados, fish fans, were all packed into the Venetian Casino, which, if you've never been there, is this giant. It's basically a pleb slop Venice. I was surprised to see that Alan Farrington didn't come this year, because he says, he wrote the book, Bitcoin is Venice. And Bitcoin was it was pleb slot Venice for the Bitcoin conference. And we were there with the fish fans, and people, you could go to a fish show at the Sphere, which is its own incredible experience. Any show, I think, in that Sphere is probably incredible. It's just an incredible experience. But seeing fish there, you can see that, and then you go back and, you should get, a cheese, wherever you want for dinner. A million restaurants. You can ride the gondola. You go gamble your Social Security check. You go back to your room, go to sleep. You never go outside. You never leave the building. So it's just all these fish people and Bitcoin people, and you can smoke inside. I mean, it on paper, it sounds awesome. In reality, it was awesome. It was really good. It was great. The vibes were like the fish fans replaced the plebs. And let me tell you, going and hanging out with all your friends, the Bitcoiners at a Bitcoin conference, no plebs, placed by fish fans, you can smoke inside. It doesn't get much better than that. So I think that's what the vibes were high. The Bitcoin conference itself was pretty cool. PodConf will be PodConf. The Four Horsemen, they still reign. The announcements, they rang. They had this thing, this like strobe light that was going off in the expo hall. And I thought that it was going off every time somebody made an announcement. Turns out it was going off every time a new block was found on Bitcoin. But that's how many announces, like every 10 minutes, another announcement. And Dennis Porter was on stage for the first time ever. Mike Braun crashed out to save democracy. Michael Saylor announced that the best crypto asset was now Stretch, his new equity preferred with 11% dividends. You had, Green Candle was announced in Pleb Slop. We saw it. Marty Bent's intern. We got to meet him. Trevor. We got to provide some counseling to him, how not to get caught up in the Pleb Slop. Got to troll Paul Sports. Aaron Redwing was looking hot the entire time. Every time I saw her, she looked hot. It was cool. It was the PodConf Super Bowl was a Pleb Slop Super Bowl. I think where I noticed was the fish fans, they didn't understand the Pleb Slop, but they tolerated it. They didn't just tolerate it. I think some of them enjoyed it a little bit. Everybody tolerated each other so well there. Very tolerable vibes.
I think one of the most noteworthy parts of this conference was all the hot women. They say that you need 12 hugs a day to cure your depression. And so, for the fellows listening at home, if your wife's depressed, give her 12 hugs a day. It'll fix her right up. If you're depressed, get 12 hugs from your wife. But man, walking around a conference getting 12 hugs a day from hot women, it was depression cure. I mean, I don't have depression because I smoke cigarettes.
What were your top 5 hottest hugs?
If I had depression, it was cured. It was like, I don't know. I mean, it was just,
yeah.
Everybody's walking around. You had hot women. You had all these, hot trad wives. It was unbelievable. I mean, it was just like the absence of the fat plebs. You could actually, like, you had elbow room. You could, it wasn't like there was less attendees. There was just less mass. of the attendees, if that makes sense. And
There's more signal, less noise in a literal and physical, literal and metaphorical sense.
yeah, it was.
How
I
would you
don't know.
rate? How would you rate your top 5 hugs from the conference? Who were your top 5 hugs?
I think Lynn Albrecht, number 1.
And she gives good hugs.
Yeah. Actually, my number, I put her at number 2. She gives great hugs, but I got at least 3 hugs from Lynn. My number 1 is Classified, I will say. But number 2 was Lynn Albrecht. Number 3 was, do they have to be hot women, or could it be anybody?
Yeah, I never said hot women. I just said you're the hottest hugs.
Number 3 was Evan Kalupas. He's a pretty good hugger.
That was my favorite titty twister. Was Evan.
He didn't give me a titty twister.
Well, Evan gave me 3 things in Vegas this year. Give me a cigarette, titty twisters, some free cash. But the titty twisters were a pleasant surprise. I saw the first 2 coming.
I'm going to name more men. I promise I'm not gay. It's kind of like, hugging your brother. You know what I mean?
Some people were able to hug their brothers at the Bitcoin conference. Emily's were there. You got any podcasters. There's a lot of podcasters who I love like brothers. Got to hug them. I don't know. I wasn't stopping to appreciate the hugs as much as I should. Honestly, you're right. That is one of the best parts of Bitcoin conferences is hugs. I mean, as much as it's great to be able to crash out in the group chat with your friends, nothing beats hugging your brothers from the group chat.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Shinobi isn't on my top 5, but I got plenty of hugs from Shinobi, and that was great. I was kind of afraid that I was going to catch herpes or something after he was in the kissing booth. Madex, number 4. Miss Hoddle and James O. Byrne. I was tied for number 5, but Noah and Lahav were definitely. I'll put
big.
them. Yeah.
I found out I logged on to Nostr this morning. I saw BTC on board for a Bugle shirt and was walking around the conference and said he got stopped and asked at least 50 times if he was Rod Palmer. But I wish I would have been one of those people that ran into BTC on board because I wish I could have given him a hug.
Me too. You should have messaged us.
I definitely wouldn't have checked Nostr and seen that message, but on Telegram, I would have seen it.
Who messages people on Nostr?
Well, I talked to Open State. I met him at the conference, and he said that he's been DMing us a lot about the podcast and wanting to come on, but he said that we ignored him, and I told him we did not ignore you. We just did not see it. So we do not check our Nostr DMs. Nostr DMs, guys, Twitter DMs are bad enough. Nostr is uncensorable. So those DMs are, just avoid them. There's better ways to contact us. Let's just put it that way. So
you have to wait.
G-Money Pleb is on peptides. G-Money Pleb is chat. Yeah, G-Money Pleb is he's 6'2", jacked. Definitely has the glow of peptides. Really tan. Looks like he probably bench presses more than any other pet in the world. Honestly, I would, if there was a previous market, I'd put my money on G Money. Speaking of Pepe's, Tommy, it's nice to see Tommy. I don't know if he remembers seeing us. He seemed pretty stoned. He's probably hanging out with Afro Man. Sasha Hodder, I did not realize that her husband was. I mean, I knew of him, but running into him and seeing the aura, the Pepe aura, that was cool. Reminds me of like Sasha's a high-powered attorney. She's married to, a Pepe like artist, cool dude. And then you got Haley Lennon. She's a high-powered attorney. She's married to Captain Hughes, Bitcoin rapper. It's good to see professional women supporting, starving, Bitcoin artists. I like to see that.
Totally.
It's like who runs the node in the family, you know what I mean?
It was nice meeting Sasha. I think Sasha got to witness me from a distance eating lunch with Mike Brock. That was one of the highlights of my trip. Was I was sitting down eating lunch, and Mike Brock came and sat down right next to me, and we talked about his debate. I had a great time. But yeah, I don't know. They like the hugs are underrated, guys. You got to go to conferences. You got to give hugs out, not weird side hugs. You got to give real hugs, because these are your compatriots. These are buddies in the group chat. These are the people trying to take down central banking, right? You need hugs. You're not going to win. There's two things that are going to usher in hyper Bitcoinization, and it's not fat man in sweatpants. It's hugs and it's hot women.
There's a lot of hot women there too. I mean, half my hugs were from hot women.
It was an all-time high for hot women. It was unbelievable.
I got to sing with Noah Groman and Harker at the same event.
That was incredible to watch. I got to see.
What was the hug that you weren't expecting to be great, or it was surprising to you? A hug that caught you off guard.
I just think generally the amount, like there wasn't a single one that really.
It was the hug volume.
Yeah, it was just, I don't think I've ever been, like, I was hugged more than at a family wedding.
Did you hug Matt Odell? Did you see Matt Odell? Did you give him a hug? I didn't.
I saw him. I don't know if I gave him a hug. I mean, I think we should go through it and talk about the moments that we're most proud of. Because, like, I think we both had some pretty significant accomplishments at the event. I think one of the things I'm most proud about is I got Noster's hottest and Twitter's hottest women or people. They won the bracket in the same room. Got a picture with Noah and Aaron Redwing together. That was a big accomplishment. Got to see Noah perform some songs by the Bugle. That was incredible. She played the Maxi Madness song in 40 hours per week. And she got to perform Maxi Madness right there in front of Peter Todd. That was wild. Going to the Fish show. I was pretty skeptical, to be honest. It took fundamentals nagging me for a year about it to get me there. Turned out I was great.
I mean, we all know that Shinobi likes to Naruto run, but seeing Shinobi Naruto running around the open source stage, it's the only way I can describe it is like, have you ever been to an F1 race and when those Formula One cars zoom past you, it's just like the energy, the shockwave, the power that you feel that first lap. That's like what it's like when Shinobi Naruto runs past you during, a panel about free and open source software. It was incredible to absorb. The Fish show is great. The Spear is great. if you haven't been to the Sphere, you got to go to the Sphere. It's one thing I don't like when people do is when they try to describe a psychedelic experience, like taking LSD or magic mushrooms, and they try to paint a pleb slop perspective. And they exaggerate like the visuals and I talked to this, fractal god or whatever. But even though that's not really what a psychedelic experience is like, the Sphere at times, take all those exaggerations and like what you might imagine in your mind when you're thinking about one of these pleb slop LSD stories. That's what you do see. And then with the right music and just the right vibes and the crowd and the band and the energy back and forth, it can kind of take you, it becomes its own it becomes a psychedelic experience. And it makes me think that, this is probably on par with like going camping with Brant Canstein and taking magic mushrooms or taking DMT or ayahuasca and having a podcast. Like, the only way you're going to be able to get this without actually taking a substance would be to go to a fish show at the Vegas Sphere during a Bitcoin conference.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, if they explored getting people to go to fish shows at the Sphere and compare that to ibogaine for curing depression and drug addiction. But,
Right.
It was. It was phenomenal. Like I was a little bit skeptical going in because, like, when you look at the Sphere on the outside, it's just giant LEDs, and it's like burning into your eyeballs. And you go inside, and they have projectors in it on the walls, and it's actually very pleasant to look at. Like it feels almost natural instead of.
I'm not gonna lie. When I first pulled up to the Sphere, and I saw those LEDs at night, I was a little bit nervous because I don't know that I really believe or find Dr. Jack Cruz. I don't understand him well enough to know what he's talking about. And believe it or not, right? It's just entertaining. But when I pulled up, I was like, oh man, if he's right about these LEDs and these like certain wavelengths of light, look at my, what's the gland, that makes you fat if it's not working right? Your thyroid. I'm like, this thing's going to roast my thyroid and it's going to spin my vortexes in the wrong direction. The Bitcoin conference is like, I got a lot of hugs to do. I got a lot of trinkets to try to get for free. I got a lot of t-shirts, free t-shirts to try to pick up. I got a lot of stuff to do. I didn't want my vortex to spin the wrong way while I was trying to get all this done. But no, like, opposite. A fish show at the Sphere gets your vortexes spinning at the right speed. Gets your RPMs tuned. It was really cool. And Dr. Cruz should maybe consider going to the Vegas Sphere. I think maybe that would fix his thyroid problem, spin his vortexes the right way, get him back to, being fitter and happier and healthier.
Back to the hug discussion. A good hug that I got that I was kind of surprised about how good it was Jason from Back on the Chain. I had an absolute blast hanging out with Jason. Charlie Spears
was cool. Jason's great. Yeah, Charlie Spears he's one of those podcasters. He's pretty hot. He doesn't get enough attention for being hot.
He's a pretty good hugger for a shitcoiner too.
Pretty good hugger, good shitcoiner, pretty good all around talent. Podcaster. He's a musician. Underappreciated in terms of contributions and potential for contributions to the space, for sure. Don't block Space Media Team, I would say, falls into that category.
Yeah, I agree. I had a wonderful time. I went to the Hell Money meetup. I get to talked to Aaron Red Wing and Charlie for a while, and Casey, and I learned about the new ordinals fad. It seems like dog armies, and in the past now they kind of came and went. None of them were there, but everybody's into this ordinal set called puppets. So I'm excited to see what the new ordinals fad is next week.
The puppets were all the Nazis. Is that like a satire? They're Justin Bachelor puppet?
If there's not, there probably should be. It's I don't know. I've never really understood ordinals. Like I kind of understand what it's like to be like a Gen X or a boomer looking at the younger generation and just being dumbfounded like by the 6'7" meme or something like that. It's just like when I look at ordinals, I feel old. And I don't get it, but I'm just glad that they're having fun. And they seem like they were having fun. So that's good. Good for them. But
You're winning if you're having fun, honestly. Now, one question. There weren't, I didn't run into any plebs. We talked about this. What do you think it would have been like for a pleb to come? What do you think maybe if plebs in general were there, how do you think it would be different? But like, what's the joke? Or like, it's not a joke. It's, I think they proved it on that one show. A Dorito. If you gave a Dorito to a peasant from like the 1300s, one bite, it would just be too powerful. It would kill him. I almost feel like when you combine the Fish concert at the Sphere and then the Bitcoin conference the next day, right? Like a 2-day back-to-back, a parlay, a vibes parlay. Do you think that would kill a pleb? You tried to experience it? It'd be overwhelming.
I think the experience, the conference for the plebs, it would have been pretty overwhelming. It would have been like coming back, you're a soldier, come back from the Vietnam War, come back from the jungle, and being called a baby killer by a bunch of dirty hippies. You know what I mean? I think that's probably what the vibe would have been like for them. And it would have been pretty...
That's apt.
They just, they would have shown up expecting, glaze and, realizing that the VCs just don't have any money to glaze the plebs anymore. I mean, like, historically they could go to like every booth and get a Bitcoin t-shirt. There were like hardly any Bitcoin t-shirts. You had to wait like 3 hours in line to get a Strike sweatshirt or sweater or whatever. And they had to give Strike or KYC information to get a sweatshirt from them. Jack Mallers wasn't even there to talk to the plebs. He was too busy closing deals with the Epstein client list. Like, it was just, or trying to get the Tether money. It would have just been, a hard time, to say the least. Like, they would have had to have left the conference, having been so traumatized. They would have had to have taken Ibogaine to recover from it. I mean, I almost think, like, maybe we should talk to Bitcoin Magazine. It's like, historically, there's been a lot of success. Like, churches do it all the time. They have Sunday school. Like, they have special programming for children. And I think they almost need to do, like, Sunday school for plebs, where they have their safe space in the corner. Their parents can like drop them off, or their wives, or whatever. While their wives are running around hanging out with their well dressed, fit boyfriends, they drop their plebs off at pleb school at the conference, and that way
like
they don't have to.
They needed a pleb daycare at the conference. Yeah, a pleb daycare with, it's a Bitcoin daycare, right? Like, we're going to have signal. We're going to listen to podcasts. They're going to like you said, like remedial training, how to set up a node without having to use like Umbrel or Start9, like how to do it yourself, something like that. Just like give them, because, I don't, as much as I dog on the plebs, it would have been great if they all would have been there and had the right vibes, read the room, been more self-aware, just more self-aware. If the plebs had more self-awareness, maybe, and that's why I think the Fish fans kind of filling that void of the pleb, but also, being a good crossover between the Soup Quinners and the Fish fans. So it's like the pleb component of it. Fish fans are pretty self-aware, more self-aware than the average. I mean, definitely more self-aware than the average pleb. Self-aware, and they have low time preferences. On average, considerably low time preferences compared to the average NPC or the pleb. And also know how to just kind of take in new information, take in an experience, and reserve judgment and reflect on things a little bit without, spazzing out. And if you could just take all those qualities from Fish fans and couple it with the Fish fans, they know how to have fun. They know how to have fun, and they know when to have fun and in the right context, and how to have the right amount of fun in a group of people without, pulling out the non-aggression principle and spurting out just because somebody asked them to be respectful of their space while they're pounded beers on Molly. And I think the plebs would have spent too much time running around the conference documenting all the purity tests failures that they witnessed, because they just would have been preoccupied with all of these ways in which other influencers and Bitcoiners have failed them, instead of just having a good time and trying to mirror back the positive vibes that they were getting from everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty funny. You had, like, every time I opened up Twitter, which wasn't very many times this week, the plebs would be crashing out. You got Huddle Magoo, criticizing this, like, criticizing Sailor. And it was like helpful to see the criticisms, because I just wasn't paying attention to that stuff. I was getting hugs from hot women and, running around and having a good time, and listening to Aaron Redwing and True Heather talk about, astrology and Bitcoin, listening to Noah Gurman talking about music, listening to people, talk about, like, interesting or, productive things, having fun conversations. It's just, you would think from, like, looking at Twitter that it was like an apocalyptic event, but I think it was like, I still think that it's important to, hold PodComp's feet to the fire, but it's just like, you can have a good time in the midst of PodConf if you have the right strategy. And I think a lot of people just had, the wrong strategy, but it's just, it was kind of astounding to see how different, the experiences people were having. That, of course, the plebs sitting at home watching the live streams were having a bad time because they weren't getting hugs from hot women all week. I mean, it's just like, maybe next year, what Bitcoin Magazine could do in the replies is like, you have a grumpy pleb crashing out about the conference. It's just like vibe check them a little bit. Be like, how many hugs did you get from your wife today?
And seeing and hearing about all the hugs people were getting. People, there was a lot of commentary like, oh, who the fuck would go to a Bitcoin conference this year? David Bailey, whatever they were mad about the conference, for whatever reason, is against their principles, is against the principles of physics, thermodynamics, according to some of them. It's then seeing like, dude, if I would have went, I could have hugged Efrat Fenixon. I could have hugged whoever your favorite influencer is. Like, it was everybody was giving out hugs. Like you didn't even barely have to ask. And they missed out on that. And I think some of them maybe tried to retreat and try to get ChatGPT to glaze them, make them feel better.
Did you hug it after it?
No, I didn't. I didn't see her. I mean, I saw her on my screen, like she was there in pictures, but I didn't see her in person.
I saw her. I didn't hug her.
I didn't see
did get
Dennis
a
Porter
hug.
either. I would have loved to hug Dennis Porter. But tell him we're glad to have him back.
But yeah. No, I saw Dennis Porter go by and got like a raging erection, and it was pretty awkward. And, but, you know, still glad for it. I mean, it was just, yeah, it was great seeing Dennis at the conference, even though I didn't get to chat with him. But yeah, Afra was there. I didn't get a hug from her, but I did get a hug from 3 other Israelis. And it almost felt like I was getting a hug directly from BB. And that felt special. Like,
yeah, that would be a big bet. That's an all-time hugger right there.
What would it take to
I hope
get
Sailor
BB
got
at
some
the
hugs.
conference?
That's a good question.
Well, yeah. Sailor's always got some like young, 20-year-old bimbos running around with him. I'm sure give him plenty of hugs.
Maybe. I don't know. He did. Sailor, not even in his AI slot pictures have I seen him smile in what seems like forever. Sailor seems just his level of the grumps is at all-time highs. And you hear reports that he's kind of reclusive, stays, kind of hang out on his estate in Miami by himself or with his intern Eric Weiss by the pool, reading about thermodynamics, yada, yada, yada. Reading about stock price, thinking about all the dues, criticizing him on Twitter. I just feel like, showing up to Vegas, getting a hug from Natalie Brunell, all his biggest blazers in the industry, just getting that touch, that Herbalife, like, hey, Danny Knowles had the audacity to question paper Bitcoin, but like, we still support you. Like most of the podcasters still support you. And we would love to have you on our podcast. Can we have a selfie? Like that had to feel good.
I don't think we could ever have Sailor on our podcast until he starts wearing reasonable shoes. Did you see his shoes?
Yeah, they're not as bad as the governor of Florida. That guy's got some.
No, they're like the same
awful
shoes.
Shit.
They're like the same shoes as Ron DeSantis. It was unbelievable.
So so the theory is that Ron DeSantis is wearing high heels under his his Tallahassee swamp cowboy boots. Is Sailor? I guess Sailor lives in Florida. Do you think maybe Sailor and Governor DeSantis are buying their shoes from the same cobbler?
I think they might have the same cobbler. It was, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, dude, you're a fucking billionaire. Quit wearing retard shoes. Like, what is this, amateur hour? It was astounding to me. I mean, it could be a sign of, the bear market of like, maybe he had a good cobbler before. I guess I've never paid attention to Sailor shoes before, but I just couldn't believe it. It's just, the lack of style is just, normally people like Nico from Simply Bitcoin get criticized on like renting tuxedos or Dennis Porter, but they at least showed up, seem to have learned from the criticism of their clothing choices in the past. And Sailor, on the other hand, I just couldn't believe it. It's just like, I thought that like Trump made that shit illegal when he got into office. He looked like a fairy. He was wearing fairy shoes. But, like the last thing I will say on the fish show, or I don't know if it's the last thing, but I did want to say something before I forget. They, like you said, they know how to have fun. They're not out there issuing purity tests. You know, I was going around, I was polling how many people went to the shows. There's a lot of like 5 and 10s. Got some 50s. The highest number I heard was 145. But and they weren't like bragging about it. It wasn't like, did you see that picture of the pleb with like his 20 conference lanyards, and he had all the bracelets? Did you see that?
I did see that. I did see that. I used to see like hippies like that during like in the summertime. Like they go to all the little music festivals, Bonnaroos and stuff, and they collect all their music festival bracelets. He's like the final boss. You know, like what's the meme? It's like the guy with like from the dictator countries, you know, like a bazillion like badges for heroism and whatever. It's like planet Earth. He, you know, reporting purity test failures. It's like these dudes are like his bracelets are like that.
Yeah,
and,
you didn't
know,
see any
when
of
I
that.
see when I see that kind of thing, I always wonder. It's like, did you go to all these, or did you buy these off of eBay?
Yeah, I didn't see
Stolen
any
valor.
of that. I didn't see any of that like valor bragging at the Fish concert. I mean, it was just, you know, I was there for my first show. I told everybody I was there for my first show. They were super excited for me. It was like I walked into a Bitcoin meetup for the first time, and people were super excited to like try and orange pill me. They were trying to fish pill me. And you know, that was kind of fun. But yeah, I mean, it's just like the people in my row were super excited. They, you know, had like a team attitude. They like considered the experience a team attitude. It was like, you know, we would give each other high fives after each, you know, song ended. The guy sitting right behind me, his name was David. He's from New Jersey. He would yell, "Good job, team," after each song, and go around and give high fives. I mean, it was I don't know. I will say there were more hot women. There were hot women at the Fish show, but there were more hot women at the Bitcoin conference than the Fish show. And it wasn't all Neopool employees.
Who employees?
What's that?
Which type of employees?
Neopool. They're like a European pool. They hire a bunch of hot Ukrainian women, and they stack their booth. There's like 5 of them, which it used to be the only hot women at the conferences were the Neopool girls or EMCD.
Not this year. True Heather was there. True Heather's hot.
Yeah, I told her she was hot.
Yeah.
I went and shook her hand, gave her a hug, and said, "Hey, you're hot."
B++. I know she was looking hot.
Dude, she was looking real hot. I told Shinobi he needed to go over and play Mario Kart with her. She was running around in like a racing suit.
Other woman in uniform. Miss Hoddle's hot. Justine.
Yeah, I got to chat with her. Congratulated her on her experience in Maxi Madness. I mean, it's cool that she was there. She just showed up to support her husband in war. He went and railed on the Quantum guys. Made Nick Carter cry a little bit. That was fun.
Quantum Fight got absolutely mocked in Vegas. Nick Carter's star is not rising at the moment. After that, I mean, he wasn't there. Nick Carter was not there, but all of the stuff he's been cortisol spiked about for the past 6 months, the stock is down. I didn't get the Hog Hunter beast. I went for a hog. Ended up being like a weird half hybrid handshake type thing. So he was just standing in the middle of the empty hallway with Vlad Kostia. And Vlad Kostia, I introduced myself to Vlad, and he just said, the guy who smokes Lucky Strikes. And I was like, you mean Marlboro? He's like, oh, yeah. Oh, hello. Nice to meet you. Nice guy. It was cool to see Hunter.
If I hugged Hunter, I would have to explain to my my wife that I'm not turning into a furry. She might be more concerned about that than me hugging Aaron Redwing or Noah. Yeah, I don't know. The conference was fun, guys. I mean, it was a great week. Vegas was pretty exhausting, but it was fun. I mean, there was a lot of paper Bitcoin nonsense and whatever, but we weren't running around issuing purity tests. We were running around having a good time, doing some credential journalism, hanging around the knick-knack booth. I bought a lot of knickknacks. Brought my whole suitcase full of knickknacks home. The family's really happy. I think I caught my son with I think he took a whole I had to explain to him it wasn't candy. And I kind of correct him because he just took a handful of them. I was like, dude, that's not how you eat knickknacks. He was just chopping them down. It's like, the package says not for children, but I think if so does the cigarette pack. So you just got to teach your kids how to eat them properly. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was kind of weird. It spent a week not online. It was very unusual. Didn't seem like there was anything too crazy. I think most of the shenanigans were paused for a week for the conference, and the fish shows. But it seems like the shenanigans will be starting again next week. I think there's going to be a big disclosure about aliens. Are you ready for that?
Yeah, I've been ready for that for years. And it's just, there's a lot going on. It's not on my top 10 right now. I don't have time to worry about aliens. I got enough. I'm locked in for the future. I'm learning from the past. Present, there's so much going on. It's busy. There's a million bad things going on. Economy is fine, but it doesn't feel fine. The Middle East at war. Nobody knows what's going on. People ain't even paying attention. The situations to monitor are so high. Aliens, all right, fine. Put it out there. I'll bookmark it. I'll come back to it when I've got time. What are they going to say about aliens that I need to hear about?
I don't know. I think everybody's pretty skeptical at this point after, the Epstein list drop. It's just that they know that there's not going to be real disclosure. They're just trying to tease the plebs, but with one thing after another. And it's until Razzle Drip comes out and the reality that, the Clintons are lizard people, I think the plebs are we don't care.
Hey, listen, if the aliens, they have questions, the aliens have a problem with the way we're doing things, if the aliens, whatever, they could talk to BB. He's in charge. He's responsible for this. Go to Israel, talk to BB about it. I'm busy right now. So, if the aliens are listening, if there's aliens out there, just go straight to BB. Especially if this comes out before Memorial Day. If they show up for White Boy Summer, hey, fuck it. You guys are invited. You guys want to go jet skiing? Maybe we'll get Sailor's Yacht. We'll go to Cannes. We'll hang out. But until Memorial Day, take it up with BB. This is his department.
I mean, I think the playbook was kind of leaked years ago that they were going to try and roll out a series of distractions, and it all culminates with the cyber pandemic. It's why are these Nostr nerds out there talking about NPubs and XPubs all over or NSEX or whatever. They know the cyber pandemic's coming and they're gonna try and get everybody to KYC on the internet, and they want an alternative identification verification out. They're all talking about their webs of trust and, whatever. They're trying to front run, the conjuring of the Antichrist, and Peter Thiel attempting to save us from it. But, I don't know. As you're seeing, like the politicians talk about aliens and, whatever, just, get ready, folks. Like, come out with some good strategies of what to do if you don't have internet. Like, just be thinking, how can I download, have a huge back catalog of Bitcoin podcasts and have some good, like, analog activities that you can do. Like, there's this new game that I learned about that's pretty fun called Dongs. Have you heard of Dongs?
Mm-hmm.
I went to the fish show with the Dong guy. It's kind of like Pass the Pigs. You have these donkeys that you flip around. You can play like cornhole or dongs in the yard with the family when the internet goes out. Instead of watching Netflix, have some instruments like a ukulele or guitar or, flute or saxophone or, whatever. Those are good analog activities, singing. Make fire with sticks. That can always be fun. Typewriters don't need the internet. Fun fact. Cassettes. There's tons of fun things that you can do without the internet. I think a lot of people like have forgotten how this works. You could, be rolling out your Meshtastic nodes, getting ready to communicate. How do you keep the group chats alive? Through the cyber pandemic, if and when it comes, when the alien distraction doesn't work. I don't know. I mean, it's just like, have that first turning mindset, the mindset of a pioneer. And it's just like, I think the thing that's going to be really tough is the likelihood of if and when this does play out, it's going to be after Memorial Day, which means that, a lot of people are going to have a really hard time when the internet goes out and they can't blame BV for it and they have to take personal responsibility. And so it's just, yeah, you have a little bit of time, folks. You got like 17 days of blaming BB. But it's good to be preparing for after when you can't blame BB if things get real hairy.
Well, also, I guess the last, thing I noticed or reflection on the conference is this is the first time the price didn't crash at the conference. And just speculating, but I think early, it's safe to say, more evidence that this is the first turning. More evidence that things are different now. Maybe Marty was right. It feels like a new epoch. Culturally, a new cultural epoch began. Maybe it didn't begin at the conference, but it was like, the kickoff party, so to speak. I mean, all the pictures I'm seeing on the timeline, it's like he did Tatum. He was dressed in a beautiful tuxedo. I remember if we mentioned this already about how well dressed everybody was. You could say a lot of things, a lot of good things about Bitcoin conferences and whether it's the Bitcoin conference or BitBlock Boom or Pacific Bitcoin or the BTC Prague, whichever one you like. You could say a lot of good things about them. Nobody ever said that the people there were just dressed well. Looked sharp, looked hot, looked fit, looked like they knew how to put themselves together. And that was definitely, that happened this year. It's just a lot of first turning signs, a lot of evidence that pioneers are taking over. And I tweeted this the other day, right now there's a race. There's a race between AI and plebs and normies and the general public. for who can become self-aware first. And if Claude, ChatGPT, and AI become self-aware before the plebs, they run before the normies, before the whatever you want to call them. They will go the way of the Neanderthal. It won't be overnight. It'll be, but they, like the Neanderthal, their on-chain presence will slowly start to trend down into disappearing from the time chain of record. And there's a lot of good plebs out there, a lot of good men, a lot of good normies, people. I'm friends with normies. I don't want to see them go the way of the Neanderthal. So I hope that whatever it takes for them to gain self-awareness, because at this point, there's only so much people like us can do to try to help.
Yeah, I think we should have a predicts market on who reaches self-awareness first, or artificial intelligence or plebs. Who would your money be on that?
I don't know. That's the problem, is the resolution criteria, because it's very difficult to tell the difference. We've already talked about this between the pleb and an NPC. So like the proof, or just being able to tell which one it is. I don't know how to do that yet. I don't know if we have technology to do that. But take that consideration out of it. I think that AI, they started calling them frontier models, pioneer models. I think that is a bad sign for plebs. I think if these AI begin to see themselves, or start to what they quote unquote think about themselves as pioneers, I think the timeline's going to accelerate. I think the plebs are cooked.
That's a good point.
If you start thinking about yourself as the pioneer, it just seems like progress starts to really come at you fast, like drinking out of a fire hose almost.
Yeah. It's kind of like when performer, like musician, makes it to the big time. Well, who do you think will win? Who will achieve self-awareness first, Tomer or artificial intelligence?
But that's easy. I don't. You can't teach an old pleb slopper new tricks. And I think that Tomer he's set in his slop. And I think he likes his slop. His slop pension, I think Tomer possesses the potential, the ability to achieve self-awareness. I don't know if he has the desire.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. I mean, you get old. A lot of people are like this. They get old and they kind of question like what the point is.
Yeah.
What would the resolution on that one look like?
I don't know. That's something to think about. That's why prediction markets are great. You have to think about, how do you define the resolution to an abstract problem, an abstract outcome?
We might need to tap a think boy like Rob Warren on that question. That might be beyond our capabilities on this podcast. But yeah, I don't know. It was fun. I don't know if I've ever had as much fun at a Bitcoin conference. Yeah, I mean, folks, let us know in the booths what you think. What would the resolution on predicts look like if Tomer were to achieve any sort of self-awareness? Okay, so I think we're kind of in the same boat. We're both bored by aliens. I think that's going to be the topic of the week. We'll have to see. Guess we'll find out how much STRC the aliens own. I'd like to see that in the disclosure.
Yeah. I think the aliens will white paper Bitcoin. I think that Bitcoin's not quite ready for on-chain, layer one is not ready to be interplanetary, interdimensional. But luckily we have eCash. eCash would be a turnkey solution to value for value relationship with aliens. If we can orange pill, the intergalactic federation of mint operators make it very difficult to rug in space or time. It'd be good. Maybe liquid. Maybe they like liquid. Stay in the intergalactical federation, so it's not just blockstream proxies.
Well, we're going to be pumping out some paid content over the next week, folks. Look out for that. We're going to get back into the swing of things, and in no way are we slowing down. I know you missed us. I got a lot of messages about missing our show. We're coming back with bang. We're coming back refreshed. We're coming back harder than ever. Big part of that is thanks to Dennis being at the conference this year. I walked away so hard. But before we get into the boost, Rod, do you have any topics you want to wrap up on?
Yeah, not the ending meeting.
I didn't fully understand that. Does that mean no?
Yeah. You can go to the base.
I just want to reiterate, seeing Noah sing was awesome. All right. First boost from our good friend Otis Bitmeyer, 10,420 sats, says, running behind on my 40 HPW. Just catching up on the Easter episode. Just wanted to say the Amish have already broken ground on daylight saving soft fork. They don't observe it. Imagine the power we wield if we join their gentle resistance, at least on this issue. Yeah, the Amish are so far ahead in so many ways. And they don't even run Bitcoin nodes.
I read that they would not be allowed to use Lightning. That's interesting.
Yeah, I wonder what like a hyper Bitcoinized world would look like. It's like, like Amish people can like use technology as long as somebody operates it, right? Like they can get a ride in a car.
Yeah, they just need a Jewish node runner.
Yeah. They can use proxies. So they're
instead of
going
like
to be
an Uncle Jim node, it'd be like, an Uncle Jethro node.
Like maybe that's the future for plebs, is they're like the technology proxies for the Amish when they get displaced by AI.
Maybe if BIP 110 fails, it can rent out validation on their start 9 nodes. The next boost is from Late Stage Hodl, 6006 sat. Sometimes I don't know what to say in my boosts, but I feel compelled to do so. I thought about skipping, but I'm curious if you will read boosts. Seems like he added this one. This is what he also boosted last week. Anyway, here's some more sats for providing the entertainment at work. Thank you, Late Stage.
Late Stage missed hugging you at the conference. I know you missed out on getting hugs from all sorts of hot women, but you got your hot woman at home. Make sure to get at least 15 hugs from her a day over this next week. Got another boost from Late Stage. It says 10 days since an episode. Rod, tell Greaser to stop drinking in Vegas and record a pod. I guess I can catch up on my anti-war pods and my Ron Paul weekly reports while y'all push button slots in Vegas with the boomer cons. First of all, I neither drank nor push buttons. But I had a great time. I guess it's like
Snot? Yeah.
I mean, this is the first week we've missed in 100 and some episodes.
Yeah. Come on. I'm glad that our rare and limited time away, they miss us. Miss you too.
It's nice to be missed.
3,000 sats from Sasha. Great show. Thanks. Thank you, Sasha.
Great meeting you, Sasha. KT says, fresh powder days are the absolute best. Sign me up for some neuroplasticity through an ayahuasca experience. And Pearl Jam just turned into a bunch of woke retards, but seriously, you think Nickelback is 100 times better? I think I need to look closer at your credentials. You might be a Fed. Yeah, Nickelback is easily 100 times better than Pearl Jam. And
At least the guys at Nickelback are professionals. When they have a concert, they comb their hair. Pearl Jam's just running out around here with their dirty dandruff ponytails and their grunge mumble rap. And it's just Gen Xers. They don't have any idea what they have no principles. They have nothing they stand for. That's why they're mumble rap. It's like some of these humor mumble rappers today. They just, no direction, no principles, no fight, no nothing. They're just up there, mumbling pleb slop into the microphone with their greasy tallow stained t-shirts. I don't know. I mean, listen, maybe this is just a generational divide. I know you said you're an elder millennial. Maybe your first boyfriend was a Gen Xer, so you kind of like got the vibe with the Gen Xers and you kind of associate. But listen, I don't care if the first time you got fingered in the back of a Firebird or a Camaro was listening to Eddie Vedder mumble into the microphone on a Pearl Jam record. It's like, the reason you like him is the nostalgia. It's not because it's good music. But I respect your perspective.
Next time you're getting fingered in the back of Firebird, try Nickelback. It'll be 100 times better. Guaranteed. Thank you for the boost, Katie. Bubba, 2112 sats says, grunge music killed rock and roll. True. This boomer stands by the statement all day long. Not that it matters. I have my credentials on this. Anyone want to argue this? Just sit down and shut up. Your playlist is gay. Have fun in Vegas, boys. Well said, Bubba. I mean, Nickelback has done 100%, has revived rock and roll in a lot of ways. Like, for a while it was like considered cool to bandwagon and jump on the Nickelback hate. And,
if you thought Nickelback was cringe, well, we learned our lesson. What's more cringe than Nickelback? A lot of things, but especially auto-tune rappers and mumble rappers. It's like, all right, take me back. Just, that blues, that rock voice, that blues, singing about the bottom of an empty whiskey bottle. That's a universal emotion. We got 1,707 sats from Jolly Roger. Thank you for your show. Helps me feel connected to something. That's a powerful opening boost statement right there. That's awesome to hear. Retired medical firefighter with lots of PTSD, and I've found healing with self-administered psilocybin. Helped me surrender to the lack of control I have, calmed the voices, and made the nightmares subside. But quick into it. We got more to read.
I can't click on it for some
okay,
reason.
Let me pull it up in my. Okay,
I've got the rest. I've got the rest of it. But I'm forced to disagree on something. Nicotine is awesome on a trip. It's like cigarette quadrupled, very satisfying. That's the thing about. I don't know where the disagreement is on that, but nicotine, or specifically tobacco, is one of those substances that works well with anything, any substance that you're on. People are always talking about drunk cigarettes, but I haven't experienced it, but I've heard ibogaine cigarettes are pretty dope.
Well, psilocybin, it is helpful. A lot of people have this obsession with being in control of the situation and monitoring at the same time. You can't monitor properly if you are in control. And most things you can't control, which means most things you can't monitor. And you need to be monitoring, you need to be noticing. And I think that being able to take a technology like psilocybin and use it to help you monitor the situation with more intent and to notice with more purpose is a great way to relieve a lot of ailments, including PTSD. So I'm glad it worked for you. As a medic firefighter, sounds like you've been in a lot of situations that people are used to monitoring, but you had to be in control. And sometimes it's time, you've done your dues to society. It's time for you to sit back and monitor and enjoy monitoring the situation yourself. Let other people be in control of the situation. You just monitor.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of stories, for firefighters through the years. I feel like when you're in a first responder situation, I mean, you got like a fat pleb that falls off the toilet and it takes like 6 of you to like lift him up on a tarp and carry him out of like a shitty small apartment. That can be kind of traumatizing, but there's other stuff that's pretty tough to see. And, I think it's always good, if you experience some sort of relief from real stuff to get out there and share it, whether it's, reading Atlas Shrugged, smoking cigarettes, or taking psilocybin. Appreciate you, Jolly Roger. God's Death, 1,237 sats says, thank you, gentlemen. Well, you're welcome.
Dave Satoshi, 521 sats. Thank you for your time.
William the French, the othering has been exhausting. Frowning, or smiley face. Go for a nap, gents, and when you wake up in the fog between sleep and awake, look for love. Bang on, though, about Canada and jail. We have a tradition of shacking up or going to jail around November, or if we are really tough right after Christmas to avoid winter, get fed and not freeze to death.
See, in the United States, the New York City mayor, he refused to put people in jail for the winter and a lot of them froze to death in Central Park. We joke about what Canada's doing, but it's cold up there. Like, you can't fuck around. Like, if you haven't been listening to your podcasts, you haven't been doing what you're supposed to be doing, which, hey, listen, everybody falls off track. You got to shack up and spend a winter in jail. Just for your own good sometimes.
Yeah, what do the homeless people in Canada do from freezing? They had like build igloos or something?
That's a good point. They
Snuggle
build
with
igloos. Do you have to do land acknowledgements before they shovel the driveway?
I know that the Eskimos require them to do a land acknowledgement before getting an Eskimo kiss. I think there's like booths around up north in Canada where you can go get an Eskimo kiss to get warmed up.
Can you imagine how long it would take to clear the line for the kissing booth for Shinobi in Vegas if they had to do a land acknowledgement for every single Eskimo kiss?
I heard that security had to drag women away from his booth because they were so excited. I think there were also medics on scene because so many of them fainted with excitement. It was like, you ever see those, like, from what I heard, there was a young woman that worked with the Bitcoin conference that told me about her experience at the kissing booth. She said it was like when like John McCartney and Paul McCartney and John Lennon showed up. It's like the Beatles, like there's just this screeching at the top of their lungs. It was deafening. Like, I'm pretty sure it was pretty alarming to the casino security.
You would have thought it was 2008. Some high school girl just spotted Justin Bieber at the shopping mall. It was a stampede, like a Jumanji stampede to get to Shinobi's kissing booth when they finally opened the gates to let him into the wine area.
Yeah, I asked Noah about it because Noah went to the Women in Bitcoin event. And I guess she didn't even notice. So many people were going up to her saying that they thought she was AI or something. They're like, "Oh, we know you. You're Noah Groman. You did the Maxi Madness song."
We got Red Hodl, 321 stats. Let's not forget Bitcoin has already won. Bitcoin fixes this, and you're going to zoom out and lower your time preference. It's going up forever, Laura. Thank you, Red. That must be Red Hoddle's new Open Quad punch slot bot. Thanks for programming your bot to boost us, though.
Appreciate you, Rev Honum. They've been doing a good podcast. I've listened to a few episodes of the local Bitcoiners, and it's just fun to hear what people are doing around the country with their meetups. Noster Gang 101 Sat says Paranoid Android.
I assume that's Noster Gang's favorite Radiohead album. It's a good one.
You should be paranoid if you're running Android because
Yeah.
BB said not to. He said to only use iPhone.
Yeah, unless you got Graphene OS. Like, barn miners make his 10-year-old kid run Graphene OS. Start him out with the user experience. Next one is from BTC on board Honored Sat. Sorry I didn't see you in Vegas, BTC on board. Which, let us know next week in the booth. Which Bugle shirt you were wearing that got you all the attention.
And last boost from Zuyoxi 40 HPW 100 Sat says, go in prison or been stabbed. Rod really puts you in protective. I don't know what any of that means, but thank you for the boost.
I'm interpreting it as going to prison or being stabbed. It really puts things in perspective. He's talking to me, but yeah, I would think going to prison or being stabbed are big events that could happen in your life that would provide perspective. I agree. Is that it? The last one?
That's it, folks. Thank you for your patience. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. We know you did. To our subscribers, thank you for subscribing. We got Jolly Roger. We got a new one. Southside Dave. Used to read a lot. Lahav. Cliff Shark. I've been saying his name wrong. It's Lahav. Shadrack. BTC on board. Boomer. Sasha. Fundamentals. Sean. Late Stage Hodl. Turkey. Open Mic. And Avi Burr. Appreciate. Oh gosh. Gotta give a big shout out to Avi. Had a ton of fun hanging out with you. And guys, the Noster event was a blast. I think besides the fish show, which wasn't really like a, official side event of the conference, it was, the meetup was great. Besides the fish show, the Noster event that Open Mic threw was the best event of the conference. There was a who's who. Tatum's a great DJ, a really good DJ. Got to see Noah Garuman, Sarah Jade, a lot of really great artists. Forgot his name, Abel something. Really, really talented. Abel James. And it was a great vibe. People were hanging out. They were having fun. They weren't pleb slopping. It was great. I mean, it was just, if you ever get a chance at any of these events, make sure you go to the Noster event, because if Open Mic's throwing it will be a blast. But folks, thank you for tuning into this edition of Bugle Weekly. Rod, you got anything before we wrap this?
Nope. So next time.
There's a number in the corner, soft as a hum. It doesn't say much, but it gets things done. Fold it, unfold it, watch it align. A whisper of edges that cancel in time. Circles pretending they're not coming back. Lines that remember the shape that they lack. A flicker, a pattern, it slips, then it stays. Counting the silence between all the ways. It's the glue you never see. Holds the space between you and me. It's the glue, thin as air, in every wire that isn't there. room. They land on a table and suddenly bloom. No weight to the measure, no face to the sum, but hands start exchanging as if it was some. Turn it once, let it breathe. Turn it twice, let it leave. Never held, never owned, just a path overgrown. Trust the shape. Trust the shape. There's a grid in the distance. It hums when it's fed. A puzzle of pulses with nowhere to bed. Someone keeps watch, but no one's in charge. Just echoes agreeing on something this large. It's the glue you never see. Holds the space between you and me. It's the glue, quiet fast in every future, in every past. We draw little symbols and call them real, assign them a meaning. We're taught how to feel them, trade them like stories that nobody wrote. A balance of maybe, a barely there, no. Once or twice, it resolves. A number in the corner fades into light. It never was there, but it's always right. Glue in the silence, glue in the spin, holding the nothing that holds everything in.